The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Now, the author of The Path of Least Resistance and The Tech Insider, David White.
Welcome, traders, to another wonderful week at TFNN.com and TFNN, your world headquarters for technical trading and investing. It is a wonderful March 26th out here today, and it's even more wonderful because spring break is over and my commute is only about half the time as it normally was. It's still same beautiful weather, just half the traffic. I know Steve Rhodes gets stuck in traffic a lot too, so he's probably going to be real happy when he comes back tomorrow. He does have, if you go to the front page of TFNN, he is doing his Pro Trader Series. You can catch him in Tampa, April 13th and 14th, and in Boston, April 27th and 28th. So I've got two great chances to catch him. Go to the front page of TFNN.com for those. It is Root Canal Awareness Week, and I guess it shows you how far I had to dig to actually get something for today. Not many things out there. There were a bunch of bizarre, little-known events for this week, but I had to actually go from a daily to a weekly and finally hit the bottom of the barrel with Root Canal Awareness Week. If you've ever had a root canal, I don't think you have to be aware about it. I think you know right away what you've got. But it's just interesting. But talking about root canals, I have a feeling if you were at a company called Bats on Friday, you probably would have rather had a root canal than watch your IPO go south. Based in Lenexa, Kansas, they started in 2005. They are an ECN. I have met many of the people that work there. They came down on vacation, and I met a lot of them during the weekends. Most of the rollers and shakers have weekend summer homes, cottages down at the lake. And I bumped into a lot of people that were both in this and at the Board of Trade in Kansas City. But the BAT IPO, kind of interesting. I kind of dug in a little bit farther because, to my knowledge, on Friday, it was illegal to back up an IPO once it had actually traded. There were two previous IPOs that had gone south, and the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ had changed the rules. But BATS was only trading on their own system, so they didn't have to go through those same rules, and it probably worked out for them fairly well. If you didn't catch much of it, it's kind of interesting. They segment their servers into like A, B, C, D, all the letters of the alphabet. But they didn't think of one thing, and that is if BATS was only trading on one ECN, they were going to get all the volume. It wasn't going to be like Apple trading, where they end up getting 5% of the volume of Apple out there that week. They were going to get all of it, and it was going to be on their specific server. So it kind of blew up very quickly. But what's kind of interesting to me is that they gave all the money back. I was talking to Tom. I said, I couldn't remember this ever happening in my trading history, which started about 1995. And indeed, there are two cases where IPOs have been pulled back. The first one was Eagle Computers in 1983, and I actually kind of vaguely remember this. They were a big kind of clone manufacturer along with Compaq at the time. And the day of the IPO, it came out about 10:30 in the morning. 1 o'clock, the president took his brand new Ferrari that he'd picked up the night before, while with a yacht salesman in the passenger seat, and decided to drive it into a brick wall at about 150 miles an hour. They pulled back the IPO. The IPO actually came out about 3 months later, and you would have been best to stay away from that IPO as it went out of business about 3 years later with lawsuits from IBM and the way that they used the BIOS ROM, which kind of led to those BIOS manufacturers being separate companies compared to the actual computer manufacturers years later. Also in 1993, and I think this is the one Tom was talking to me about, Wilt Chamberlain Restaurants withdrew its IPOs a few days after the shares began trading because basically the books were cooked. They ended up giving all the money back, and I don't think that ever came out again. But I could only find 2 recorded times where they actually went back on an IPO. And now the rules, if it would have been a NYSE or NASDAQ stock, would have meant that they would have had to do, it would have had to have approval by those 2 branches. And even then, probably would have been some big lawsuits in there. Normally when they go on the NYSE and NASDAQ, there is some stuff in the IPO, in the prospectus to stop that these days, and that's why we haven't seen one in about, what is that going to be, 15, 18, 17, 20 years or so? Almost 20, 19 years ago was the last one. So pretty interesting. A lot of times they're withdrawn before they start, but after they start trading, only 2 occurrences that we could find. Maybe ones before 1980, but I couldn't find anything in the history of the stock market. But I guess it does happen a few times, and we know why it happened. First, they said they were going to try to come out with the BAT IPO again in the second quarter. Now they're saying they're not going to do it. I read through some of the documents Friday night just a little bit, and it looks like some of the principals might have an actual case against BAT. So a lot of these people, you go and do an IPO for several reasons. In this case, the BATS is actually trying to go public to get the original investors out that actually did it, actually funded the original starting of the ECN. So probably not a real loss out there. The executives would have made some money, but it wasn't a huge IPO to begin with, but mostly just a way for the original funders of the company to get out of it, or get at least some of their money back now, and they would have done well. MF Global also came out after the bell on Friday. It was very interesting to see the article, but basically the news blurb said that there were 2 competing emails. One said that Corzine did know about the funds actually being used. The other one was a cover your rear end email back from the CFO saying that no customer funds had been used for that purpose. This reminded me, I don't know how many people are old enough to remember the Watergate hearings. I certainly didn't pay attention to them when they happened, but about 10 years later, I saw a movie, and it was kind of a funny movie, but this guy grabs this microphone, pulls it up to him, and he says, we could do that, but it would be wrong. And actually, if you go back and listen to the Watergate tapes, a lot of times they were talking about illegal things, and that's exactly what they did. They bring the microphone up when they were recording the conversations and say, you know, we could do that, but it would be wrong and illegal, so we won't. And, of course, they did it anyway. So kind of one of those cover your rear end kind of things. So the question is whether or not those things were planted and the CFO truly knew that those funds were there, and they sent the email to cover the rear end. And don't think for a second that Corzine, I think he's actually a lawyer too, graduated from law school, didn't know that he was going to be covering his rear end if this thing blew up on him. But he's got about a net worth of about $250 million. My guess is that this thing will drag out for somewhere between 2 and 5 years before it actually ever gets to court, because it's going to take them that long to unravel the emails and put a timeline together. And, you know, unless somebody rolls, maybe they get somebody to turn on him fairly quick, and maybe there's an indictment. But my guess is that even if there is, they're going to know that he has unlimited funds to defend himself, and you know, he can literally appeal every single motion that they have. And, it does go 3 to 5 years when they do that, especially against the government, which pretty much also has unlimited funds. But this is one of the few times when you might not like the outcome, but certainly the funds are going to be balanced on both the prosecution and the defense side. On the radar, housing pending sales dipped 0.5% this morning. The Affordable Care Act, which we found out just last week is actually double the amount that it was going to be from the CBO, is being argued in the Supreme Court. I'd said, and the last I'd heard was that they were looking for a ruling somewhere in the around the 20th to the 25th of May. They're now saying it's probably going to be a ruling on that somewhere between the first and second week of June. I think once those things are out of the way, I'd be more apt to think about both trading and investing in healthcare stocks. But until those things are off the table, it's hard to figure out. Today they're arguing kind of the definition of what is. They're defining whether or not this is actual a tax and what the implications of that is. I got to listen to a little bit of it on the way drive over here today, and basically the justices are saying, I know if you say that it's a tax today, then tomorrow you're going to be arguing it's not a tax, and actually the Obama administration has said both. So they're playing that back and recording both of it, and it's going to be very interesting to see how that actually plays out. Whichever political side you're on here, it will have huge implications for those health care providers going forward. The inevitable outcome of any of this going through is a single-payer system, which means that if you're a pharmaceutical company, you're going to only have one customer buying your particular product. Not good if you're going to invest $500 million into a drug. It's probably going to change the risk-reward profile on drugs, especially when at least half, if not more, of a pharmaceutical company's income normally happens in the United States. Patriot Coal is coming out with a statement saying that they see that as long as the EPA is going to basically up the level of restrictions for output, that coal is going to remain depressed into 2013. This would be interesting. And lastly, before we come back from the break, if you hate the pink slime, Beef Products says that they're no longer making beef as of today. They make about 98% of the beef that comes with the pink slime that everybody's been talking about, which is kind of I'll explain it when we get back. Anyway, see you in a minute.
Here's what people are saying about Tiger TV.
Let's go to John in Tampa. Hey, John, what's going on?
Hi, Tom. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. You having a good day out there?
A wonderful day. I love your Tiger TV. I watch it every day. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Oh, man, I appreciate you out there watching it. How long have you been watching the Tiger TV?
I'm watching almost a month now, and it's wonderful.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it's cool. You see the charts and everything. Thanks so much for the hard work.
Tiger TV, a great news service from TFNN.com. TFNN is proud to bring you the cutting edge of investment newsletters. Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Ken is a top-down investor who lets price and volume in the major stock indices tell him when to be in the market and when to be out. By using his unique blend of fundamental and technical analysis, Ken will protect your hard-earned capital while realizing breakout gains. Go to TFNN.com today, click Investment Newsletters, and get Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks free for 2 weeks.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investment strategy. You're always looking for the next trading opportunity to magnify your perspective and maximize your returns. Direction Shares connects sophisticated traders with a powerful array of ETFs from a wide range of asset classes. The markets may go up and down, and you want tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor, Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, co-host of The Money Masters with Tom O'Brien, seen daily at TFNN.com, author of Mastering Probabilities, a daily investment and trading newsletter, and teacher of the money game. Studies show that 3 out of 5 people are afraid for their life in trading these markets, and the number one reason given is fear of loss. Look, fear stands for false evidence appearing real, and the money game proves it. Lesson number 1, don't risk more than 1% of your trading capital on any trade. Why, you ask? Because 35 trades in a row where you risk 50 cents and make $1 are all you need to double your trading capital, versus the 230 losing trades in a row you would need to bring your balance to $100. Let me teach you more about the money game risk-free for 30 days. Go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on my name, Steve Rhodes, for your 30-day risk-free trial. You were born to be a money master, and I'll teach you how.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
This segment is brought to you by Goldfields. For more information, just click the Goldfields banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
As we come back, going to go through just a few of the movers out here. Arcon, RCON, which is Recon Technologies, off about 16% today. Signet Technologies rises almost about 20%. SIGA, Vrenium, which is VRNM, is up about 22%. Arena Pharmaceuticals, ARNA, is up about 24%. They're the company making the kind of the fat drug, and apparently they're getting very close to approval in Europe. So there's their pop out there. It's always feast or famine with pharmaceuticals. Guidewire software is up 10%. Probably look at that chart in a little bit. They are a recent IPO, I think in December. They make kind of cloud software for insurance companies. And they got a nice little pop today. Broadvision's off 8%. Talk about a ping pong ball. That thing really moves. Primero Mining is up 8.4%. And China XD Plastics up about 8%. CXDC on that. I had a quick question. I'll go ahead and answer it now from the den. We were showing it in an adoption time frame on Tom's show, and that was actually from the Atlantic. So if you just do household adoption, technology adoption, or what is it, household gadget adoption, and Atlantic, you'll probably pop it up in Google. And let's see, but a pretty interesting chart to find out that the most quickly adopted product ever was the boombox. So anyway, Dan Sanborn of Ned Davis Research and some others have been really pumping out the charts since about the beginning of the year, comparing what would the S&P look like with and without Apple. We've always known that it's been a huge percentage of the NASDAQ, and they've dropped it from 20% to 10%, and of course it's probably back up to 15% or something now. But a very interesting chart that they've come up with, and it shows that the S&P as of Friday would have been up about 7.8% over the last year, compared to just 2.7% without Apple. So almost 5% of the total S&P returns, actual index returns, is Apple, even in the S&P. So still a huge thing. I was kind of amazed to see that. I knew it was pretty big, but I didn't know it was anywhere close to that. But pretty cool. And Supreme Court today threw out a lower court ruling allowing human genes to be patented. MyRad Genetics, MYGN, is the company on that. But they have two kind of genes that they've modified for breast and ovarian cancer, and they're basically sending it to a lower court because they ruled, I think, just last week on whether genes can be patented, and in that previous decision limited the ability to obtain legal protection for some diagnostic medical tests. So we continue to see the court and to some extent politics push a lot in at least the healthcare field. It's kind of interesting. But anyway, you might take a look at that MYGN. Also kind of interesting is that the streaming videos kind of hit a tipping point. IHS, which is a company that monitors DVD and Blu-ray rentals and sales, is looking at the tipping point for both streaming and hard copy. And it says that by somewhere late in probably around October or November of this year or Christmas of this year, that there will be more movies every day streamed than actually watched on hard copy. So as we continue to move and the paradigm shifting, we can probably see why Netflix was so interested in getting out of the DVD rental business. They probably had seen their numbers changing enough. But you always reach that tipping point, and a lot of times it's when one gets bigger than the other. We've seen that in like Android sales, where they finally gather a critical mass. When we get back, we'll be looking at some more charts. You can give me a call at 877-927-6648. That's 877-927-6648. And give me a call. I would appreciate it. We will talk about your particular stock. But I've got some others to show here also when we get back.
In just December of last year, the price of gold was down over 10%. In today's highly volatile gold market, you need someone in your corner that understands the complex relationships that exist within the price of gold, as well as within a variety of gold equities. Whether it's the South African gold miners and knowing how the Rand-dollar relationship will affect their bottom line, or understanding how John Paulson's $5 billion trade in the GLD can move the market, Tom O'Brien gives you the direction you need to become a better trader each week in his newsletter, The Gold Report. With over 20 individual equities covered and almost another 20 on the potential watch list each week, in addition to covering the XAU, HUI, GLD, and dollar, The Gold Report is a great source for any trader that is looking to be diversified in today's volatile gold market. For your 30-day free trial to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report, log on to TFNN.com today. Don't miss out on this great offer. Act now.
folks, this is Tom O'Brien. If you want to get great trade setups in equity as well as the option market, come over to TFNN.com and test drive my daily newsletter, Market Insights, for 2 weeks absolutely free. Each trade setup comes with a profit projection as well as stop placement. Included in Market Insights is a Twitter alert service. This allows you to take advantage of intraday setups. Volatility is back in the markets. What does that mean to you? To me, it spells short-term opportunity each and every day. The days of trending up on lighter volume are gone. We have come off the highs with volume across the globe. Don't get caught in a complacency trap. Many of the indices have given back 2 months of trading in 1 week. We have a trader's market. You can take advantage of this trader's market by test driving my daily newsletter, Market Insights, free for 2 weeks. Market Insights will give you the edge you're looking for in the markets. Go to TFNN.com, under newsletter, hit the Market Insight tab for your 2-week free test drive right here, right now.
What type of investor are you? Conservative, moderate, or aggressive? No matter your investor personality, your overall portfolio should reflect your financial goals, time horizon, and your risk tolerance. Help ensure your portfolio is appropriately invested with an asset allocation plan from Morgan Stanley Smith Barney. Simply picking the right stocks is not enough. Research has shown that choosing the right proportion of stocks, bonds, and cash is essential to the success of your long-term investments. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney believes that a carefully selected portfolio can lower volatility and increase investment return potential. Find out about what asset allocation and the Morgan Stanley Smith Barney financial advisor can do for you. Call Angela O'Brien, First Vice President and Certified Financial Planner of the Clearwater, Florida branch at 727-441-6108 today to discuss your personal financial needs. Asset allocation does not assure a profit or protect against loss in declining financial markets. Investments and services are offered through Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC. Member SIPC.
Are you looking for a precision edge in the market? Something that can stack the odds in your favor? Then look into Larry Pesavento's new trading newsletter, Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind. In each weekly issue, Larry explains what's going to happen in the markets based on the pattern he sees developing and gives you actionable trade ideas based on those patterns. Plus, you'll get his detailed analysis on a variety of markets and sectors, including stocks, treasury bonds, the gold market, oil, the dollar, the forex market, and more. And you'll get the Technical Corner segment, which is a short but powerful weekly training session on trading. You'll get access to all the patterns Larry is seeing in the markets, plus the Astro Harmonics and powerful Bradley stock market model that Larry utilizes for less than $5 a day. An extremely potent combination that will give you just the edge you've been looking for. Try Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind absolutely free for 2 weeks. Go to TFNN.com and click on the free trial link at the top of the page. That's an $85 value, yours free when you register right now. Get Larry's Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind and get the edge you've been looking for.
This segment is brought to you by Direction Shares. To learn more about tactical tools for the sophisticated active investor, hit the Direction Shares banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
As we come back, earlier, about 30 minutes ago, American Express came out with news. They are adding 10% to their actual payout. So let me read the article here, actually. Board of Directors of American Express approved a 2% or 11% increase in the quarterly dividend of the company's stock. They're also doing a buyback of $150 million in shares. And they had a nice little pop. They were doing well already. Looked like probably somebody knew something was coming. Volume is not all that huge today, but it doesn't really matter. We're getting into something that I talked about in my newsletter, and that is the last couple of days of the quarter. Quarterly statements will be going out about the mid part of next month in April, and everybody wants to make sure they've got a piece of a winner. Whether it was Apple or American Express or any of these companies did well, they're going to be doing a lot of window dressing, as this is what the one that really means a lot. They both get paid off of it, and their customers are going to get those statements, so if they have to jam the market up here just a little bit, it doesn't really matter. We're seeing a lot of movement in several corners of the world. Let's see if I can get the one I'm looking at here. Yeah, I mean, we've got Dow up 145 points at the moment. NASDAQ up 51. We've got the S&P up 17 points. I was looking for a test of somewhere around 1425 as the next level on the S&P. Probably going to see that tomorrow or Wednesday. Of course, the last day of the month is going to be on Friday for business purposes. So I imagine that we're going to put that in. And of course, you don't only have monthly window dressing, but we have quarterly window dressing here. Not only in that, but we were talking about exhaustion days and how gold was looking like it had probably made a fairly decent bottom on Friday. We'd been went in the newsletter in some gold stocks, $16.91.80 today, up another $30 today. And you might go back and look through the Tiger channel if you missed it, because we went through some of the exhaustion moves when you have those giant candles and giant volume, and that's it. You have no follow-through after about 3 days, and a lot of times these particular stocks, especially commodities, love to have huge volume for a second, and then that's it. They just, basically is like a fireworks. It's the end of it. Everybody shoots it off, and it's all over. And it's time for it to at least temporarily move back the other way. And pretty good indication when everybody's yelling and screaming, just like the hog farmers or the hog traders and the Kansas City pits used to say, sell them while they're yelling and buy them while they're crying. And American Express, interesting stock out here today. One of the ones I did want to talk about is a movement. This stock has not been out very long. Guidewire Software is one of the few IPOs that look like it did pretty well. It's way off its high for today, but it's had a nice gap up, and actually we were looking to see whether or not this thing was going to have some decent volume. I don't think I have. Yeah, we've got it here today. But bouncing up out here, it's we talked about it being a recent IPO that's kind of like a cloud technology for insurance companies. But it's you would think that you'd want to have something in the line of this last big gap up, 820,000 shares on the 14th of this month. And we're bouncing up here today, going to maybe 270,000 shares. It's going to be better than it was, but these stocks that hang out kind of go sideways for a while. This one went sideways for about 5 days. Kind of looking like this may be one we want to keep a closer eye on in the near future. Let's see. What else do we have? The other one was Broadvision. We talked a little bit about this one. It's just a monster of a mover out here, back and forth. This one actually had a huge move up, and it's come back pretty much to that high volume day down. BVSN is the symbol on that. It had about 1.8 million shares that day. We're getting finally back in that candle. First time it bounced off that candle with about 600,000 shares on February 16th. We're getting right back into this one. We're going to have to watch how this thing handles the last gap up. But this huge volume day spike up, and the next one the next day, 1.8 million. It's kind of made a nice trading range out here. Broadvision is a company that does and market supports enterprise portal applications. They kind of, if you were going to redo Yahoo, that's kind of an example of what Broadvision does. If you had like General Electric and you wanted to have your jet engines and your refrigerators and washing machines, and you had a lot of different things, but you wanted to have one monster website that actually anybody could go to, like GE.com. These, I don't know if Broadvision's done them, but that's the kind of company they are. They do massive portals for large corporations. It's kind of interesting. So that's one of the ones. I've got some other stocks. Let me go ahead and load those up here today. Accenture was one of those companies that had been up here on very light volume, and it looks like they're going to continue moving up here. ACN is the symbol for that. It is, of course, the kind of a company that goes along with some of the other ones that are moving out here today. But what I was really looking at is the high of July 7th, $63.66. Had 13 million shares, just a huge day. And it has gone above that. 3.2 million, probably 3.5 million by the end of the day, maybe 3.6 million. You certainly have to be looking at what these are doing out here, and it's we're going to probably see a lot in my scan tonight. If you get my newsletter every day, you know that I do anywhere from probably 10 to 40 charts each day, each morning, of stocks that are testing previous highs and lows or giving signals or creating Gartley patterns. But this is one that I put in there today that I thought was probably going to break higher. Much like I try to wait 3 days to see whether volume comes in or not. If this thing in the next 3 days would probably go below that previous high of July 7th at $63.66, would probably be a very big sell signal on this. Another one that I put in the newsletter today is one that's coming up at fairly strong resistance levels. Ann Incorporated, retailer of women's apparel, I guess it's Ann Taylor, shoes, accessories, United States, is finally made its way back up to a gap that had huge volume down. That volume day was on 5/20 of last year. And continues to probably be that long-term resistance. The symbol is ANN. But what do you have? About 7.5 million shares. That gap has been out here for a while. And as we climb back into it, certainly not seeing any kind of volume like 7.5 million shares. In fact, even if you compare it to the last high of October 27th at 28.31, we're going through that with probably a half the volume again. A lot of these stocks, even though they can run maybe till Friday, you're going to see some of these probably set up from some nice snapbacks at these highs. So another one to keep an eye on. PIN is another one. PIN Gaming. Of course, they make a lot of the machines that go in casinos. We saw the last high on July 22nd at $44.29, 860,000 shares for that high. We've had a lot of movement besides then. We're finally back up there and got to 95 today. Basically about half the volume as we speak. We're going to have to watch and see whether or not this thing can continue to close above that high today. But Penn National Gaming makes me think that as soon as we look at one of these, you want to be looking in that sector again and see whether you can see any confirmation as a sector if gaming companies are coming in there. One of the ones that look like an actual breakout, but probably is not doing as well you would think, but okay, is Valco Energy, EGY. We've been watching this thing kind of come up, and actually the last time it reached the resistance point, which is about $8.40 on the March 7th high, 1.3 million shares, it certainly had plenty of volume to break out. That's 4.5 million shares on February 15th, but it did a little retrace, came back, had another big candle out here with 2.7 million shares on the 13th of March. Now we're going up, but this is, normally when you break those highs, you want to see not volume coming up to it in big long candles, but just those big long candles on the opposite side. Friday had 1.3.5 million shares. Today coming in extremely light, 540,000 shares. Even all these other ones, let me see if I can't get back to one of the ones I wanted to look at, which is the total volume of the market. Normally talk about that early in the show. I wanted to wait and see how this thing was lining up before the end of the day. as we've got how much time left here? Got about 15 minutes left. I would think up here, if we wanted to hold these levels, I'd like to see 5.5, 6 billion shares coming into right around 3 billion shares at the moment. That probably projects out to 3.4 billion shares by the end of the day. A lot of times there's a lot of sandbagging of ECN volume, and that drops only in the last couple of minutes of the day. But I'm going to look at 3.4 billion shares on the consolidated tape of the New York Stock Exchange. And that's going to be very interesting in that. I wanted to go one more time while I've got just a few minutes here left in the show and look at it. S&P still at that 1415. I still think that we're going to go just one notch higher, which is about 1425. So we'll probably know whether or not we got any of that volume, I would imagine, tomorrow or Wednesday. Even if we don't, we could probably see another 10 or 15 points. I would imagine that people will be shorting this market. And today, probably I would probably do it also if it wasn't the end of quarterly reports. And a lot of people diving in these stocks very late in the day. Apple actually 605.68 up almost $10 today. Let me see, AAPL. I want to take a look at that. We did talk about how big a percentage of that is now of the S&P. But kind of a nice, in the scheme of things, you really had the last big volume day up. And that was on a gap on the 14th, and you had that 50.5 million share day. You've really seen almost a ski slope down of volume. Let me make it a little bit bigger here. Got a few hiccups today, but we've got that huge volume day. It's in the scheme of things, this is like a $60 stock moving up $1 or down $1 a day, but we continue to see that kind of movement that makes me think we've got, something going on here. Now, would Apple run till Friday? I think we can see that if it's 5% of the S&P over the last year, that it wouldn't take a whole lot to do that. Also, when we look at the other big mover in the S&P, about 30% of the S&P is energy stocks, and we've got crude printing off about $107 now, up about 20 cents on the day. With 30% energy-related stocks, it's very hard to see until we get a major move, and I would say probably below $100. We're going to see a major move down in those energy stocks. We could have a surprise. Could we have, we've got 3 carrier groups right now in the Gulf, 4 minesweepers. Would it be on the scope of anybody to maybe throw a few firecrackers around and see if they couldn't get some shooting moving to move oil prices higher? Especially a lot of those Arabian Peninsula countries are probably 50, 60, 70% of their income only from oil. But right now, I would have to say that we're probably going to have to see a significant pullback in oil prices to see at least the oil sector part of this thing take a major hit, even though these companies tend to look very weak. Anyway, give me a call, 877-927-6648. I'd appreciate it.
In the world of financial markets, there's a new player in town with an exciting new way to trade the markets. Nadex now offers binary options as well as bull spreads in a wide range of indices along with commodity and forex markets. With as little as $100, you can gain access to a new way to trade global financial markets while guaranteeing that your risk will always be capped. Nadex allows you to multiply your trading opportunities in ways never imagined before and access markets you once once thought were out of reach. With short-term trading opportunities available, including binary options expiring each hour the market is open, Nadex allows you to take advantage of a variety of market conditions regardless of volatility or market direction. Now is the time to take advantage of this exciting new market. Don't let this trading opportunity pass you by. Open your account today by clicking on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Nadex, a better way to trade.
TFNN is proud to bring you the cutting edge of investment newsletters. Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Ken is a top-down investor who lets price and volume in the major stock indices tell him when to be in the market and when to be out. By using his unique blend of fundamental and technical analysis, Ken will protect your hard-earned capital while realizing breakout gains. Go to TFNN.com today, click Investment Newsletters, and get Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks free for 2 weeks.
Hi, folks. Turns out my best student became my best teacher. Steve Rhodes absolutely raised my standards, and I'll guarantee he'll raise yours.
Thanks, Tom. What I've learned is that if you want more, you must become more. And that transformation, folks, that occurs the moment you decide to become a master. Now, the quickest way to mastery is through immersion. And for 2 solid days in Denver, Boston, and Tampa, I'll create a new standard of wealth for those few trader investors who have a burning desire to succeed. At my Master Trader course, I'll teach you how to create the ultimate money machine. These are the best kept secrets in the business. Roadblocks, folks. Dabblers give up when they first appear. Stressors last just a little bit longer, but masters expect roadblocks and achieve extraordinary results when they bust right through them. I have all the benefit of knowing the type of wealth creation that I can generate for you. You don't. That's why I'm making this unconditional money-back guarantee. If for any reason you're not satisfied with my Master Trader course, I'll refund every penny. That's right. I take all the risk and you get all the benefit. Go to the homepage at TFNN.com and sign up today.
Put the power of the Chapman Wave methodology to work for you. No matter what market you trade, what time frame you trade in, or your trading style, the Opening Call, Basil Chapman's daily market newsletter, is bursting with the information and trades you need to become a more successful trader.
I've been using Basil Chapman's Chapman Wave methodology for several years now. His Chapman Wave can be used for any time period for not only equities, but futures, currencies, commodities. I've been also a subscriber of his Opening Call, which I find an invaluable tool to help me analyze the potential of the market each day. He gives you opportunities to go short and long. It includes recommendations on stocks. I strongly recommend people using the Chapman Wave, and I very, very strongly support the use of his Opening Call.
To find out more about Basil Chapman and his Chapman Wave methodology, and to get your 2-week free trial of the Opening Call, a $64 value, visit TFNN.com today.
Here's what people are saying about Tiger TV.
Let's go to John in Tampa. Hey, John, what's going on?
Hi, Tom. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. You having a good day out there?
A wonderful day. I love your Tiger TV. I watch it every day. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Oh, man, I appreciate you out there watching it. How long have you been watching the Tiger TV?
I'm watching almost a month now, and it's just wonderful.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it's cool. You see the charts and everything. Thanks so much for the hard work.
Tiger TV, a great news service from TFNN.com. Catch Tom O'Brien, founder and CEO of TFNN, professional trader and educator. Also a special guest on CNBC, analyzing the commodity markets. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And out on the wires this hour, Green Mountain. When you think it probably couldn't get any slimier, Green Mountain is down $1 on news that the founder actually was selling right before the news of Starbucks coming out. So on a down day, they're or on a pretty big up day here, they're still down almost 2% on here. GMRC. Kind of the stock that keeps on giving. Why can't I type that symbol correct? GM, because I want to do RC and it's CR. GMCR. Always type it backwards. Just a hideous pattern out here on the market. But maybe Tom will have some more insight when he focuses the power of the giant Bloomberg on it, but just have kind of the headline on it. But apparently Bloomberg's done a little investigation again and found out these folks are probably a little bit tough. One of the other ones, well, let's see what else we have here. I wanted to talk about Goodyear Tire and Rubber. Another one that looked like maybe it had been finding a bottom. Symbol is GT, Goodyear Tire and Rubber. Was looking at this $11.83 low, 8.2 million shares on November 21st. We've been getting into that for the last few days on about maximum of 5.8 million shares. Been doing some sideways movement out here. I guess when you think about how much oil goes into a tire. I know on race tires that it was about a barrel per tire, at least on my race tires it was. So a huge difference in the tires that I bought. That's about half true because a lot of synthetics are used on consumer street tires. But still, one of the huge, largest investments is actual crude, and only a percentage of the barrel can be, the oil is useful in tires. But maybe you're seeing some kind of bottom here that shows a top in oil. You can kind of look at almost a lot of times these tire companies, the inverse of the actual oil companies themselves, or the price of oil. But certainly coming back in here with some lighter volume. There's a handful of these stocks that look like they'll probably trade in the inverse. What's very interesting about this particular one is you had a higher volume pullback. And what you really like to see, or I like to see, is light volumes at highs, not heavy volumes. I like to see I don't like to see the volume tested and have a heavy volume, because a lot of times those will get retested. You actually had the high at $15.47 get retested with 23 million shares on a huge down day. Again, your odds of that getting retested fairly soon are a lot less than a heavy volume low. But you're seeing some kind of pullback here into this market, and certainly it's having a hard time keeping that previous low. Maybe part of this market, but one of the other ones that caught my interest. With just a little bit time left, I want to check in one last time on the volume here, see if we can get an update on the overall volume. Yeah, I'm going to say 3.4 is probably what we're going to see at the end of the day for the New York Stock Exchange. Consolidated tape, 1.5 on the NASDAQ. Not all that bad on the NASDAQ, but certainly the big board is not sharing the love. We've got just about 10 minutes, and Tom O'Brien's going to be in his own seat. I have a special seat here. But he'll be bringing in the great King Henry VIII seat in just a few minutes, and he'll be wrapping up the end of the day. Only one stock coming up out after the bell. That's Apollo. So keep an eye on that one. See you tomorrow.